Okay, that was an original. It was first time I was playing a recorded original, and I wanted to share that with you so that there are no copyright violations with any of the streaming services. Welcome to the PS I Love Me show. This is Olmiga, brought to you by Olmiga Enterprises and your favorite radio station, LMC, where loyalty means everything. Let's get right to it. We got a lot of things to cover today in a short amount of time, and I want to be respectful for the next show that's coming. Shout out to the DJ that we just had right now playing some trivial old school music. Always gets me in a real good mood, and I like that. Shout out to the radio station, to the fans that are watching right now. I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to share a lot of exciting news. I'm a man of epiphanies, and epiphanies come to me in different ways, shapes, and forms. They come because I accept these things, I wait for these things, I appreciate these things, I am aware of the signs that come to you in different ways, shapes, or forms, which could come as opportunities for you to grow or for you to expand your knowledge or whatever it is that you can offer to others to reciprocate those that give to you. That being said, we're going to ask a special question here. I'm going to bring up the screen. What are we doing here? We're going to bring up the screen. I want to make sure that I'm watching myself and I can actually type in certain things. So bear with me as I'm just closing this. This is new. What we're doing, we're streaming on 4 different platforms, including YouTube. So yes, this is exciting. I'm not afraid to make mistakes. You learn as you go. And you're watching this develop. We are going to grow together. This is a growing channel. So if I put myself at least in the middle here, when I'm looking at this, then it looks like I'm looking at the screen. See, so this is practice. So I can continue to look at the screen. Grow with me. We're going to grow together. Hey, Barbie, how you doing? Mickey, how you doing? Johnny Guns, that's the guy who was just here. Julie's here. Tommy, there you go. On vacation, I see you. Mickey Nieves, everybody that's here. You know, special love, you know, to Barbie, always there for me. Working on a lot of great positive situations in the future. Everyone get ready for this show because this show is going to be phenomenal. Let me ask you a question. Everyone who's paying attention right now. For those that are here, we got about 99 people watching right now on multiple platforms. What is the first word that a baby either learns or communicates? Because remember, communication is more about listening than it is talking. So in the future, when I talk about communication, be open-minded. It's not just about talking. It's more about listening. So make sure that you're balanced on both components of what communication is. There's other components as well, but the 2 majors are communicating, verbalizing, expressing yourself, and then listening, which is the most important part of what we do here. What is the first word? Anybody can type in what's the first word that a baby learns or a baby interprets. You know, give me the common stuff. You know, if I don't see any comment, dada on a dirty diaper. Yeah, you know, it's a sound. It's a sound, right? They make sounds. You know, before they make sounds that you think you recognize, they make a lot of other sounds. You know, like. They do little monkey sounds, you know, ooh, 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 ah, ah, right? They do little animal sounds, and you're not, you know, it could be interpreted that way. But everybody always talks about the same thing. Everybody talks about the same thing. Dads want the kids to say dada, right? That's a pride thing to say dada. They want the kid to say dada first. Sometimes they say mama. Sometimes they say dada, sometimes they say goo-goo, sometimes they say gaga, which is the name of a singer, right? Lady Gaga. Think about this. It could be interpreted in many ways. And sometimes parents hear what they want to hear. And they say, look, he said it. Oh my God, he said it. It was clear as day. Are they saying dada because of dad? Or are they just pronouncing the word? Or are they just letting it go and just expressing themselves the only way they know? Whatever sounds come out, they don't know how to control them yet. But like I said, we could interpret this as, oh, he said daddy first or dada. You know, I think it's better to wait for the kid to say father. But, and again, that's a little bit more ahead in the process. The reason why I'm asking you this about the first words that are spoken or interpreted or communicated from a kid, from a baby, the first word is no. That's the first word that a kid learns from a parent or parents or family members when they watch them, whoever's caretaking for this baby. They're always telling the kid, no, don't do that. Don't do this. No, 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 don't. No, no, no. You take things away from them. They grab everything. They put it in their mouth. They put it in their pamper. They take their pamper off. They swing it. They do. Hey, kids don't understand. You say no. They just want to interact with you. They don't know what's going on. So we go like this to them. No, 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 no. So, you know what I'm saying? So a kid hears no, 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 no all the time, repeatedly, consistently. No, 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 no. So then they get trapped into the no circle. No, 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 no. If you actually listen to the first words that a kid says, he's doing like this to you. You talk to a kid. Have you ever seen that? You talk to a kid and the kid's like this. They're saying no. And then when they're trying to pronounce the no, that's a very difficult letter to pronounce at first. That's why the T's, the hitting ones, the percussion letters, the ta, the dot, the ka, the K's, those are percussion letters. The pronunciation letters are the N's, the M's. They're close together. N, M. You see how kids take a long time to get B's and D's and M's and N's. They intertwine these things and they get them mixed up all the time because they're so close together. There's a reason for that, because that's the only way you're going to be able to distinguish them is to put them in a similar space or category. But that's another conversation that we're going to have at another time. So we teach these kids no, and that's why a lot of times kids respond no. Hey, what's up? No, 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 no. Kids grow up dying to tell their parents no. They want to get to an age where they can tell their parents, no, I don't want to go. I don't want to do this. I don't feel like doing this. And that's where the tension starts for all you parents of teenagers and up, because it doesn't just stop with the teenage. It goes further than the teenage era for most of us. So guess what? We teach kids how to say the word no. And they get used to that as one of the major words in their vocabulary. So then we try to teach them how to say yes. And the damage that has been done from the consistent no, the damage that has been done from the consistent no's has to fight with the yes now. Now you're trying to make them a yes. A yes person. Not a yes man, like just yes to everything, but you have to start introducing yes into their vocabulary now, because they've become no people. So then we struggle to get them to become yes people, and then only to revolve it yet once again when they become an adult, to try to teach them and tell them that it's okay to say no. Let me wrap that up for you. We emphasize and we push the word no to kids, to young kids, to toddlers, or 6 months, 5, I don't know, whatever. Kids start talking early. If you look at it, some parents will say that the kids started talking with 3 months, and I'm like, whatever. But I guess stranger things have happened in this world. So who am I to disagree? We spend so much time trying to institute things, so much that it becomes implanted where it should be an option. It is a no and yes are options. You can agree to something or you can disagree. That's where it comes from. The strong emphasis on the word no becomes not just part of the language, it becomes part of the decision making and their actions or reactions. You could be accustomed to something and it becomes first or second nature. It becomes relative to your everyday life and how you proceed in expressing yourself or reacting to something. Just wanted to share that because, you know, a lot of people have to go to therapy for the things that are implanted into them that are so dark and so deep that they need to learn how to either cope with this or they either learn how to eliminate this. But very rarely, and this is why this show is different, they underestimate us and they try to say that we don't have what's called an option. And options is what's important. But in order to understand options, you need to understand that and be aware what the things that come from this, the repercussions or the greatness that comes from these actions. You have to be aware as to what happens if I option this or option that. But the society and the way the education system has been in their curriculum, they've demonstrated time and time again, and studies have proven this, that repetitious behavior creates a habit, a consistency, you know, and it's like Pavlov's law. We're not going to get too deep into that. Salute DJ Miggs, thank you for coming in. We appreciate you, you already know. You have to understand that you have to have a strategy for everything you do if you take things as a game. If you don't take things seriously, I know it seems like we're switching channels here, but just stay with me here. If you take everything as a game, then it becomes of a competitive nature. If you are this is how you can tell if you have a competitive personality. Watch this. You heard it here first. If everything you do needs to have a dominance, a control, if you take things seriously to the point where you have to win, you have to get your point across, it is imperative that what is inside of you gets released. Remember we talked about flushing the toilet. We talk about flushing your mental toilet. We talk about releasing the things that you carry with you. Now we can talk in better terms. We don't have to keep going backwards. We can start now moving forwards and talk about the extra weight that we carry. The mental weight, the extra energy that we must carry to deal with the extras that come in life. What you do for yourself nowadays is not good enough. You are involved in relationships. You are involved in situations where other people belong to these circles. If you are a competitor, then you will choose what's called a dominant strategy. You will pick the strategy to win if you are a competitor, because there is playful competition. Don't get me wrong. There's playful everything. There's good debate. There's good arguing. There's good things that come from things that might intimidate other people. Like there's always room for a good debate, you know, and a good argument, but not a disrespectful argument, not a argument that entails things that are not relevant to the conversation. You have to keep your eyes on the prize. You have to stay focused. Does a competitor know how to concede? Does a true competitor, know when to concede, when to say, I'm done, I lost, I give up? For some, it is absolutely difficult to retract from that. For others, it's not so difficult. And the others is what I want to talk about. The others are the ones that have and look at things as an option. The people who refuse to pick a side, some people would say that is sitting on the fence. Salute DJ Extraordinaire. You already know. Oh, before I forget, another super special shout out to DJ Lou Diamonds. This guy is an incredible person, great skills, knows how to fix things, been troubleshooting, getting things started. He's always the one that jumps in, teaching me so much, and I appreciate people that teach me. We can continue to have a long and pleasant, great relationship because we can grow from each other. Just understand that when someone does something for you, you need to reciprocate. Obviously, I can't help them with technical stuff, but if there are things that I feel that I can help them and can contribute, that can carry a similar weight or an equivalence, I'm your guy. Just let me know what is it that I can do. I'm saying it here live. What is it I can do for you? And I will help you to the best of my ability. Shout out to you. All right, let's get back on track here. We have about 36 minutes, and I'm going to take full advantage of every minute here. Now, you have to differentiate what is a game. What is a game? A game is a gamble. A game is anything to do without facts. So let's piggyback on what we talked about last week. We talked about, and in the last couple of weeks, we talked about assumptions, where people say you should never assume. And I disagree because there are people that get paid tons of money in different fields that you have to assume. So, but here's the thing. If you are going to assume, you have to at least have a scientific or a worthwhile guess based on maybe experience, based on relative conversation, based on how well you treat yourself. Because if you're the type of person that is relentless and you need to know the facts, then you're the beginning of a good argument. You're the beginning of a great argument. You're the beginning of a fruitful debate. Because you have the ability to correct someone. You have the ability to stop ignorance in its tracks with facts. I like that. That's going to be in your shirt. Stop ignorance in its tracks with facts. Yeah. And for those of you, the merchandise is up. We got some LMC merchandise. We got some Live Above the Norm, Omega Enterprise stuff in the store on the YouTube channel. The same thing that's over here. Let me do it this way. Yeah, Omega Enterprises. Look it up on YouTube when you get a chance. And they have a store there so you can take a look at the merchandise that we have. Support your guys, support your channel. I always pay it forward. Bills need to be paid. You know how we do this. So yeah, a game. What's a game? A game is assuming. When you're assuming, you're playing a game. What do you mean you're playing a game? Of course you're playing a game, because what constitutes a game? A game is a chance, right? A game is something that you can win or lose. That's a game of chance, which is a gamble. When you take a gamble, you're playing games. Anything that has a risk, which is the risk of losing, it's a game. When you assume, you're playing games. You're hoping, or some people actually believe the things that they say without it being a fact. They could swear to it. Have you ever heard someone say, damn, I could have sworn that's what he said. I could have sworn that's what I heard. When they do that, they spent a lot of time convincing themselves of that. So pay attention and be aware that if you know something for a fact, just get in the habit of saying you're pretty sure it is, but at the same time, before the other person starts winding up to throw you a hardball or a baseball, look it up. You got a phone, right? Look it up real quick. But look it up. Look it up. This is how you have to argue nowadays. Words don't mean anything. There's no trust. I've told you that it's been a masterful, the government and society has done, and capitalism. There's a lot of responsibilities here and a lot of accountability that is not being distributed or administered in no way, shape, or form. That's responsible for the way society is right now, the separation. Yes, thank you, Mickey, for sharing the stream. Please share this stream. Please get people involved. If they can't watch it now, we have the recordings that we can see later. So this is a fantastic era. Thank you for pointing that out. Look, the bottom line is this. We're all going in circles because we're taking sides. And when you take sides, what you're doing is you're coming to a conclusion. So all I say is that before you come to a conclusion, before you make a decision, you got to make sure that this decision is not based on feelings, unless feelings is the foundation. If it started off with a feeling, then I get that. But if there's feelings that were attached to this, it doesn't work. You can't be biased. You have to be fair. You can't have stereotypes, even though whatever the numbers are when it comes to these stereotypes, you have to be extremely open-minded. You have to think in and out the box. Like let's cut it out with you have to think outside the box. You have to think in and out the box. You just have to know when to think out the box and when to stay in the box. There are times where you can't sit on the fence. You have to be able to pick a side, either out the box or in the box. When the opportunity comes for you to make a decision, you have to understand that you have options, that you don't have to go with the norm. That's why we live above the norm, right? That's part of the podcast, right? Live above the norm. This show is P.S. I Love Me. It teaches you how to love yourself so that when you give yourself to someone else, in any relationship that you occupy, you give the best of you, the best version of you. And if you're going to compete, and it's not going to be a friendly or a growing competition used as motivation, then use that competitive structure for yourself. Compete with the person that you was yesterday. Compete with the person that you was 2 days before. Compete with that person. It's an easy competition because all you have to do is not be that person anymore. For those of you that are trying to grow, this is how you grow. You grow with awareness. In any situation, when they talk about solving problems, and by the way, the PS I Love Me, the PS stands for problem solving. That's pretty catchy. But yeah, very innovators, I would say. But think about this. You make decisions, but are you really making decisions? Or are you just doing what feels normal to you? What feels easy for you to do? And the reason why I'm saying it in this form and this tone is because, watch this. Follow me here, because this is the part where it's going to slap in your face. Watch this. You have to go against the grind sometimes in order for you to get by. Here's an example. You have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. And that is the best way of learning how to make decisions. By being open-minded and understanding and being that rational that you understand that there's two sides to this. That you can go either way and you're going to pick the side based on what though? The one that suits you or the one that suits whoever is involved? Are you considering all the other players involved in this situation or this problem-solving situation? Think about this. If you don't start getting comfortable with uncomfortabilities, they will always be uncomfortable. You will always be behind this hurdle, this obstacle. You will always remain stagnant to this and become fearful of it. This is where fear comes from. Fear comes from, where does fear come from? From the unknown? Most fears come from things you haven't even done. Yes, experience brings fear too. Anxiety brings fear because you're starting to remember the assumption theory. My theory says that if you put assumption in the middle, and on this side you have expectations, and on this side you have anxiety. Both could be considered assumptions. Both anxiety and expectations could be assumptions. But think about it. If you're not schooling yourself and you're not teaching yourself how to be impartial, unbiased, how to be fair, how to not have preferences, I guess, if you want to call it that, or just your way of doing things, it has to be that way. How do you ever expect to coexist with the world if everything has to be your way? Balance. It's not just balance in you, it's to teach yourself how to be balanced with someone else. People will treat you the way that you allow them to treat you. Some people will keep treating you bad until you put a stop to it. But you could also recognize these things early by not being in denial that these things do exist. The signs are there. You just not want to be aware because you're so hung on something else that you're not supposed to be paying attention to. So when you assume, it's a game. You're playing games. You're playing games with yourself, and you're playing games with the person, with their well-being and their happiness and their calmness and their peace. You're playing games because if you're going to assume something, think about how you feel when somebody assumes something and you know it's not true. Think about that. And you have to explain or have to defend something. Think about how much time we spend with certain individuals because they're always assuming things. Now, also understand that while they're assuming these things, they could have been led to believe these things by their actions in the past. These are things that you can't brush under the table. You still have to deal with these things and bring them to light. But when you assume, you're playing a game. So if you're going to play a game, this is what I'm saying. I'm not telling you not to assume. I'm telling you if you are going to assume, make it a great assumption. Have some facts involved with the assumptions. The assumptions turn into a fact quick and it's not an assumption anymore. When you're risking something, it's because you don't know. Because if you know something for sure, then it's not a risk. You have to make sure that you know what the hell you're talking about. There's this thing called the Nash equilibrium. Now that we're being recorded, I challenge anyone to any of the things that I say, and if I say anything in error, if an exaggeration or I miss a point, feel free to catch me on that because we're here to grow together. We're here to give and take. The Nash equilibrium. Nash is a guy they were referring to in the movie Beautiful Minds. Beautiful Minds, I believe it's a movie. We can look that up because I'm able to share my screen now. We can look that up, but I'm pretty sure, see how I did that? I'm pretty sure that we are able to do that. I'm gonna look that up and let's see if I put the cam on, what does that do? Let me see, hold up. No, not that. Hey, look at that. So if we look up the Nash let's see, it's right here. The Nash equilibrium. Right? We're gonna learn this word together. A stable state of a system involving the interaction of different participants, in which no participant can gain by a unilateral change of strategy if strategies of the others remain unchanged. Okay, I'll let you take a look at that real quick. The Nash equilibrium. And we'll come back to the cam. In basic English, what they're saying is the people that are involved, because if two people is a duo, you need at least two people to do this, the more the better. If everybody is worried about what the other person is doing, you're in no man's land. Because if I'm worried about what you're going to do, and you're worried about what he's going to do, and he's worried about what she's going to do, we're all worried about what the other person's going to do. That is in a competitive nature. I've always said to live your life like you're running a business. Live your life like a business. Okay? Because people care more about their business than they do their own life. Okay? But if you incorporate the two, when they tell you to mind your business, what do you think they're talking about? Mind your business. Mind your life. Mind your business. So haven't you ever told someone, mind your business? So if you've never told no one mind your business, then I guess this is not for you. Or if no one has told you in your lifetime, mind your business, think about it. They're talking about you, your life, your business. It's your business. Treat your life like a business and you will be successful because then you'll understand what it is to succeed and what sustainability is. And all these are terms in business, but we live in a capitalistic world. How do you expect to survive if you're not living in a society or you're not living a life of business? Think about this. We live in a capitalistic country. So if you're not living your life like a capitalist, food for thought. Food for thought. You don't have to listen to me. You don't have to feel forced or obligated to do these things. We're here to open your mind and give you a different perspective on things. Doesn't mean that I'm asking you or encourage you to do that. I'm telling you to open your mind so that you yourself can retract or get these other things aside, to dissect yourself. Not overwhelm yourself in thought, but relative things. Learn how to stay relevant, So the Nash equilibrium, if you're in a competitive situation and you're going to compete, again, if you're assuming then you're playing games, which you are competing. This is a competition somewhere. There's a risk. It's a game. There's a risk. Oh, this is all competitiveness. So if you're going to do that, do it right. Use good information. Weed out what is good information. Before you speak, know what you're talking about. Remember we talked about being prudent or having prudence. It's to think before you speak. People can't because they're reacting. When you speak, it shouldn't be an automatic verb. Speaking shouldn't be an automatic verb. Speaking should be a thought process if you can, and say, hey, chill. If you can imagine how many times you could have stopped things from escalating from some of the things that we said when we were angry, that I now have to control, and the emotional intelligence to stop myself from saying it. Because if you can't stop yourself from saying it, then you're not going to be able to stop yourself from thinking it. And the ultimate goal is to change your behavior, is to enhance your knowledge and your growth so that your behavior can be modified for yourself. You have to modify your behavior so that you can be happy. Most people are unhappy with something about themselves or a lot of things about themselves, and they say, I wish I can change. That's the wrong attitude. You cannot wish for something. You have to put the pieces to the puzzle and put some action in effect. I guess what I'm trying to do, if I can wrap this up, is when you make decisions, there's a lot of things that go into it. But you can remove the difficulties by understanding all the obstacles that we put ourselves. We worry about the wrong things. We put too many obstacles that stop us. And the timing is wrong, because when it's time to make a decision, you have to go through all these hurdles first before you press play, or before you hit the drum. You know what I'm saying? So follow what I'm saying. Like if you're going to be a competitor, which it's okay to be competitive, because competition is good. It's motivating. It is enlightening. It is energetic. But if you're going to compete, do it in a good nature. Don't compete to destroy your opponent or ridicule your opponent or make fun of or show off or be facetious, which is, again, to make fun of a person in a sarcastic way and hurt them so that people can laugh. These are all part of, removing yourself from that type of texture, that type of asshole, so to speak. So think about that. Think about that. Stop worrying about what the other person is doing, because that's like a game of chess, a game of checkers. You're worried about what the other person is going to do next, so then that affects your move. You're not sure about your move until the other person makes their move. Doesn't that make you dependent on the competitiveness? Are you really a hustler? Are you really a competitor if your moves are based on somebody else? Remember what we talked about before, that when someone is talking, and if you're like playing double dutch and you're going back and forth, going like that, ready to jump in so that it doesn't smack you while somebody's talking. Listen to this analogy. If you're thinking about what to say when somebody's talking, you're not listening. And listening is the most important part of communication. You have to get, how are we doing on time? We have to learn how to be uncomfortable and be comfortable being uncomfortable. We have to learn how to be uncomfortable. But you have to acknowledge it. You have to realize what are the discomforts that we're talking about. We have to acknowledge what the differences are. Give ourselves more room and understand that we have options. But you have to start thinking above the norm, above the common. You can't be the common person, because the common person does what everybody else is doing. And if we live in a competitive nature, whether you see it or not, we do. You are a product of your environment. Our ultimate environment is a capitalistic society as well as a capitalistic government. They protect the capitalists because capitalists is part of the culture. They say money makes the world go round. So if money makes the world go round, where does that come from? From capitalism. This is why I say the businesses are missing the psychological effect. The psychographics, which is still, it's not new, but it's underutilized. I'm talking about demographics. Demographics to a business. When you open up in a market, you want to observe the market. You want to make sure that you'll be able to supply the demand and you'll be able to compete in a market or capitalize for a higher part of a market share. So you got to understand that demographics are just gender, race, income level, things of that nature. Psychographics are behavior, how people behave, how to get someone to react, how to get someone enticed. Sex sells. Chaos now is the big thing. Before, people used to shy away from chaos a lot more. Oh, I don't want to see that, I don't want to see that. Now people are like, oh, what's going on there? Hey, action, you know. They did a good job at boring us, like giving us boredom, like boring us to death. They gave us the whole stay at home. Food for thought. I'm not challenging that the COVID-19 wasn't real. I'm not challenging that. I'm saying that some people took advantage of that in many different ways. The government and capitalists, because they're in bed together. Remember we talked about being in bed? Who you're in bed with. Be careful who you're in bed with. Your friend's friend could be your enemy. Your enemy's friend is your enemy. There's a lot of ways of looking at that. Understand these things. You know, we have to stop doing what's called the prisoner's dilemma. There's a thing called the prisoner's dilemma. That's where you don't know what to do in certain situations because you're thinking about what the other person is doing. This came from like Bonnie and Clyde is a great example of the prisoner's dilemma. Let's say Bonnie and Clyde get arrested for a gun charge. Nobody's fessing up to the gun. The maximum crime for the gun is a year in jail if they stay quiet and they don't rat on each other. Obviously, they're in cahoots with each other. Listen to what I'm saying. They're in cahoots with each other. So they already know not to talk. But let's just say that one of them talks. If one of them talks, they get immunity. They get no time. And the other one gets 20 years. And that's it. That's if you know that the relationship is over. But Bonnie and Clyde obviously had no intentions of ending their relationship. So they were going to do everything in their power for both of them to win. As a whole, not as an individual. Which brings me to the real topic of this discussion here. It has occurred to me, and it came to me in epiphany, that being selfish is the real reason why relationships don't work. There was some type of selfishness that was not necessary in a relationship, and I'm going to prove it. You ask someone, what are the most important things in a relationship in order for it to work? What do they say? Communication, patience. You have to learn how to forgive, which are all true. You have to be honest, forthcoming. It has to be built on a good foundation. Because the more weight you put on it, the fragile it is. So it has to have a strong foundation. That way when you retract, you remember how it started. If it started wrong and it continues to be wrong, you have to go back and fix everything from the beginning. The foundation is not working. Everything is going to come down. You want to talk about communication? I just said that the most important part of communication is listening. So if you're not listening, you're being selfish. If you're talking all the time and you're controlling the conversation, you're being selfish. If you're the only one that chooses where to go, you're being selfish. If you're the one who picks what everybody eats, you're being selfish. Regardless to the fact, because even if you're not doing it intentionally, you're not allowing the other person to grow. And this is where you have to let the uncomfortability, you have to teach people and teach yourself how to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. That it can't destroy you or make you feel embarrassed or make you feel a certain type of way because that's the way you were brought up or your beliefs led you to believe that. You have to start drawing the line to start creating your own legacy as an individual. You don't have to keep carrying on the legacy of things that weren't right. If you know they weren't right, stop making yourself believe that they're right. Stop becoming or allowing yourself to remain the sheep. Live above the norm. Get out of the common. Be the sheep herder or be the dog. The dog is cool too. You don't have to be the sheep herder. Or be the neighbor. Stop being a sheep. Be somebody else. Do something different, Selfishness is what does it. You have to learn when to be selfish. It's okay to be selfish at certain times. When you're being selfish for yourself, when it's you time, you have to learn how to be selfish for yourself. Your quiet time, your peace of mind, whatever it is. If it's prayer, if it's taking a walk, if it's exercising, whatever, if it's eating, whatever it is. You have to allow yourself to have that sanctioned time for yourself, because that's also part of flushing the toilet, flushing your spiritual, essence, your energy, rebuilding it back up, regenerating it, just like muscles. We tear up the muscle and then you use protein and it repairs the muscle and then it grows bigger and stronger. That's how it works. Life is a big muscle. Saying you have to be able, trust is, yes, you have to trust. But trust comes from the word honesty. In my podcast on the YouTube channel, you'll see that one of the chapters talks about honesty versus dishonesty, which breaks down the honesties, like not saying enough, saying too much, exaggeration, straight up lying, cheating, stealing. All those things are acts of dishonesty. Remember when we talked, Julie, about how you said people were testing your intelligence, and I told you that you cannot test your intelligence. Only intelligent people can test your intelligence. They can test your feelings, but they cannot test your intelligence. So we need to utilize what we have in the right way, and we can't allow invaders or aliens to come into our territory and take up land in your head, because you're the landlord. You are the landlord of your head. You're the landlord. You're the one who decides what is occupied up here or not. And I'm becoming very strong at doing that. Becoming an independent thinker, becoming an independent thought process, knowing what I like, what I want to do, what I want to see, making sure that I'm in the right heart of mind, the right righteousness, to understand who I affect, the kids that surround me, the people that rely on me to be honest, to be a good friend, to be a good family member, to be good partners, and whatever it is that we do in that relationship. Selfishness is the number one killer in relationships. And we're not talking about boy and girl, daddy, mommy, any relationship. There was some sort of selfishness that destroyed, maybe on your part, maybe on my part, maybe on both of the parts, yours, anyone's. It could have been a reciprocated revenge type of selfishness, tit for tat. You know what I'm saying? You got to understand these things. Like, what I'm basically saying is cut the BS. Cut the BS already. Stop hiding. Stop utilizing excuses not to be you. Stop playing this persona. Stop making believe that you are somebody that you're not, because you are engaging people in something that's phony. Keep it funky. Keep it real. You owe it to yourself and to everyone around you. Remember, kids did not ask you to be here. I know I was a mistake. Trust me. At the time. Now, I made good. So, was it a mistake? No, it was one of the greatest things on earth. And that's the way I feel about myself. I'm one of the greatest things on earth. You're one of the greatest things on earth. You're one of the greatest things on earth. Everyone here is one of the greatest things on earth. We are all part of the great things on earth. And if you think of yourself of anything lower, then you don't have enough to contribute. Because there are people that give, and they don't think about themselves. It's not a right balance. It doesn't do the universe any good. The energy, it just doesn't. It's not a great contribution. It is okay to say yes or no. You don't have to be a yes man, yes woman, no man, no woman. You don't have to pick one. What you need to do is start picking the right answer. And in order for you to pick the right answer, you have to be open-minded to the situations around you, to the situations that you have gone through. Use your experiences as a catapult. They're not always the same. Life is funny. It plays tricks. Just when you think you had it snappy good, everything is great, here comes the next curveball. Here comes the next challenge. Think about that. You're being so selfish that you're being competitive about what you choose to be competitive with. But when the competition comes to you, you fold. When life throws a curveball at you, you decide to play the dodgeball game. You decide to play it wasn't me. Let me tell you something. If you're a real hustler, if you're a real competitive person, if you like to compete, then use it to your advantage. Accept all challenges unless the challenge leads you or someone is going to be affected by you accepting this challenge. Think about what I'm saying. Go for it. Think about the risks that are involved. That's all part of being prudent, thinking before you speak. Because sometimes people speak with their ego, you know. If you think about remember the commercial Lego My Ego? Lego My Ego. I know it's ego, it's 2 G's. But if you think that somebody is playing you to a point where your ego is being tested, you should just say to yourself, Lego My Ego. Which is Lego My Ego. Lego My Ego. Lego My Ego. Lego My Ego, bro. Like you know what they're saying now, the words, the common words, the culture is saying, you got me messed up right now. But in a stronger, more vulgar word, you got me effed up right now. You know, you got me twisted right now. When do people say that? When you've made a false assumption, or when you're going in a different direction, when you're out of pocket. Mr. David, how you doing? That's the producer. David, my guy, my man, how you doing? You already know, I appreciate you. I see you. I see you on hey, Renee, I see you on YouTube. I see Gloria. Hey, I see Edwin. I see you all. This is all beautiful. I'm not even really paying attention. There's a lot of screens right now. This is a beautiful moment for me. But let me try to get to it because I only got 2 minutes left. In closing, stop talking crap and be responsible. Stop being competitive with your wife, with your kids, with the grocery store. Stop being competitive. Like, stop showing off. Share. Teach people how to fish so that they don't have to rely on you. Stop trying to make yourself more important than you are by not giving people the fruit of life. Teach people how to fish so that they know how to fish, and then when you can't fish, they can fish for you. Teach someone how to help you so you can both grow. If you don't teach someone how to fish, they got to come to you for the fish all the time. So you have them as a prisoner coming to you for something that you can actually blossom from as well by opening the doors and helping someone thinking outside the box. That one thing that you teach them could be the opener for them to be in love or addicted to knowledge or addicted to learning facts. We need more people in this world that focus on facts because the world right now is addicted to bullcrap. 6:58, we still got 2 minutes. Stop being selfish. Stop being selfish. The people that always say me first, it's okay to say the me first thing if that particular thing, you need to go first. From a leadership point of view. Not because you need to be the one to go first. No, me first, me first, me first. Maybe the people are like that because there are people that are always want to be the me first because they always get the short end of the stick. So they get tired of it. They go, no, I'm going first. You know what? I'm always being the loser. And then there are other people that want me first because that's the way they are, because they've been given everything. They feel like they're entitled to be first or the first one to get something. Be on the lookout for that. If you want to know if a person's a good person or not, see how they make decisions. Watch how they make decisions. See how hard and stubborn they are to particular things. The best people in the world are the most open-minded people. That way you can have an open discussion and you can learn from them. We're going to have the same discussion over and over. If it's not informative, if it's not something that's going to help you grow, let it go. Let go my ego. You are the landlord of this right here. Don't let nobody sign a lease. Don't let nobody be a tenant in your building or in your occupancy. Don't let them do it. I love you all. I love myself. I want to teach you how to love yourself. I'll give you your best you. This is LMC Radio, where loyalty means everything. Hormiga Enterprises, and I'm your host, Hormiga, and the show is PS I Love Me. God bless you all. Have a great night.